Straight Shift with the Car Chick, the podcast that's all about cars, buying, selling, fixing, and driving, and sometimes renting fast if you're the car chick. Now, here she is.
Welcome, everyone, and happy holidays. No matter what your cultural background, your religious beliefs, or where you live, the winter holidays can be such a great and joyous time. Between the festive celebrations, family gatherings, which, that can be a plus or minus depending on your level of family drama. But, food, lots and lots of delicious food. So the winter holidays can be really great. But unfortunately, they can also represent the most dangerous time of the year to be on the road. So today we're going to talk about the top 5 holiday driving dangers out there and how to avoid them. So let's just jump right into it. Number 1 is visibility. This time of year, the days are getting shorter, just in case you hadn't noticed. December 22nd is the winter solstice, or to some of us, we call it Yule, but it does represent the shortest day of the year. Between that and your numerous holiday party invitations, people are driving more at night during the holiday season than at any time of year. And you're like, no kidding, I'm sitting here in traffic. I know this. But most people don't realize the dangers specifically of driving at night. According to the National Safety Council, traffic death rates are 3 times greater at night than during the day. Okay, right, that makes sense. 90% of a driver's ability really depends on their vision, which can be greatly impaired after dark. One of the things that I have really noticed about this whole being over 40 thing, which, a whole other soapbox, but my night vision just isn't as good as it used to be. And I actually have a special set of contact lenses that I wear when I know I have to drive at night. So, even if you have good vision, it's just more dangerous to drive at night because you have the less visibility. Your depth perception is different. Your color recognition, you can kind of see some of those halos sometimes around lights, especially if your vision is not as great as it was, when we were a little bit younger. But, our peripheral even is diminished after sundown. And the bottom line is our vision is just a little more impaired at night. Twilight is actually one of the most dangerous times to drive because your eyes are constantly changing to adapt to the changing light and the growing darkness. So your brain's just kind of going, oh, what's going on? So turn on your headlights as soon as the sun begins to set. The law says if the street lights are on, your headlights should be on. And a lot of cars do have automatic headlights now that do sense when it's getting darker, and they just turn the headlights on for you because, the cars don't trust us to do the right thing. And they're not wrong. A lot of people don't realize that turning your headlights on is not just about you being able to see. You may be able to see just fine, but it's still harder for other people to see you, especially those of you who drive silver and gray cars. Those are the hardest to see, especially at twilight. So turn your headlights on just as soon as it starts getting darker, which I don't know about you guys, but around here it seems to be happening at like 4:30. So, no matter how good your vision is, you just flat out can't see beyond your headlights in the dark. So you also want to maintain a speed that allows you to stop within that distance that you can see. So give yourself a little longer following distance when you are out on the roads, especially in stop and go traffic. And I know that can be difficult during commuting because, if you leave too much space, somebody will just cut in front of you anyway. But just be aware that, your stopping distances, while technically they're the same, your reaction times at night are not as good. So just give yourself a little bit more space. Also, you want to clean your headlights. We talked about that a little bit last time when we were talking about winterizing your car. But your headlights, your taillights, The inside and outside of your windows, keep those clean. Really be sure to wash off your windshield and all the windows around your car at least once a week, especially if you live somewhere where you're having inclement weather and the heavens are dropping snow and other junk onto our cars, because you really want to be able to maximize your ability to see. If your headlights are kind of cloudy, starting to turn yellow simply because of age, talk to your mechanic about getting a headlight restoration, or call your local, a good quality detail shop. A lot of those guys are trained and have the right equipment and the right solutions that can clean your headlights. And that lasts, gosh, it can last anywhere from, 3 months for a really crappy job up to a couple of years. But if you can get one that lasts at least a year, it's something that's worth doing, unless you can afford to just flat out replace those headlights. Because usually you can't just replace the plastic outside. You have to replace the whole darn thing because they're built as a module, and that can get expensive. But a good quality headlight restoration can really extend the quality of your headlights for a couple more years. And then, you just have it done again. So if you spend $100, $150, it's really worth it, so that you're getting the most out of your headlights in terms of seeing and being seen. So be aware, visibility is your number one thing. And during the holidays, that's kind of reduced. The second thing I want to talk about is fatigue. I don't know about you guys, but I'm fairly exhausted. I've been running around like a chicken with my head cut off. Of course, partly that's because this time of year, the end of the year is the crazy car buying season. So this is my busy time of the year. Think about accountants in April. This is kind of my April. And between that and all the holiday parties and, family obligations, not to mention, some good movies that happen to be coming out, I've really been burning the candle at both ends, and I'm exhausted. And I'm sure a lot of you are too. We can easily wear ourselves out with all the shopping and the decorating, which I didn't even bother to do this year, but it gets exhausting. And when you're tired, your reaction times are not as good. Your vision is not as good. And a lot of people are driving long distances to visit family and friends over the holidays. And between the road trips and just the general exhaustion, it increases your risk for getting into an accident. I know a lot of my friends and clients also have kids that are in college, and they may be coming home from the holidays, especially if they're, if they're on a quarter system. Maybe they just got done with final exams. I was on a quarter system back in college, and I remember, vaguely, because it was a long time ago, but I remember being exhausted because I had been up for an entire week studying and cramming and going through the exams. And it was just enough that I could drag my butt onto an airplane to go home for the holidays. But a lot of kids are going to be driving home, and they're going to be driving after having done exams and studying, or, end of term partying. And they're going to be even more exhausted. And the chances of them falling asleep at the wheel or just not having as good a reaction times are greatly increased. So if you've got kids who are going to be coming home for the holidays and driving home from school, please remind them that they need to get some good, solid sleep before they jump in the car to come home. Even if they've got to take, a 2 or 3 hour nap after their last final before jumping in the car to head home so that you can do their laundry for them and they can eat your food. Let them get that rest, because it will keep them a lot safer on the road. And of course, number 3, this should not surprise anyone, but yep, alcohol. Holiday party goers are out there drinking. And, during those festive events, people can kind of lose their judgment and indulge in an extra cup of eggnog that they really should not have had. But alcohol is still one of the top factors in traffic fatalities. So, I know texting is kind of getting up there, but drunk driving is still in the top 3. And, when you're combine alcohol with being tired as well, that's just a recipe for disaster, because alcohol increases your risk of falling asleep behind the wheel. When you're tired, one drink can feel like five. I mean, how many of you have had a glass of wine and just immediately zonked out when, normally you could handle 2 or 3 glasses and get through the night? I'm a lightweight, so it's real easy for me to have one glass of wine. It's like, okay, I'm done. I'm going to bed. And I know that when I drink, I don't ever drive. That's just one of my hard, fast rules. And I'm lucky. Fortunately, we've got a great place, wine bar down the street from my house. So my car has spent the night in the Grapevine parking lot from time to time, and I've just walked home or grabbed that Uber. There is really no excuse for drunk driving because we have Uber and Lyft and all those great apps now that, if you can still operate your phone, you can call one of those to bring you home safely. It's never, ever, ever worth the risk of drinking and driving. You want to stay safe and keep everybody else safe on the roads during the holidays. So watch your alcohol consumption. Don't drive while you're sleepy, and be extra alert about the other drivers around you because you don't know how much they might have had to drink. If you see any signs of sloppy driving, weaving over the lane, kind of speeding up, slowing down, that could be because they're texting. It could be for a variety of reasons. But if you see people driving inconsistently, a little erratically, or just plain stupidly, get around them and just stay away from them because it's not worth it. And, don't hesitate to call the police if you do see someone that is driving very dangerously. I have been behind someone who kept kind of listing off to the side of the road and then jerking back on, and lifting off the side of the road and jerking back on. And I did not know whether that person was drunk, if they were on their phone texting, or if they were literally falling asleep at the wheel, but it was terrifying. And so I did get on my phone and I did call the police and, report their license plate number and told them exactly where I was on the highway. And I just said, please just send someone out to find this person and just see what's going on with them because they are a danger to themselves and others. Well, I'm going to take a quick break and just for 60 seconds. And when we come back, we're going to talk about weather, distracted driving, and this crazy thing that happened to a lady in the Walmart parking lot in Rock Hill, South Carolina. I'll be right back. Do you hate car shopping? Do you worry about being taken advantage of or about finding the right car at a fair price? Buying a car can be a frustrating and time-consuming experience. But what if you could get a great deal without having to do a ton of research, without having to haggle, and without the fear of buying a lemon? You can. As your personal car shopper, the Car Chick will help you pick the perfect car based on your unique lifestyle, budget, and personality. She'll handle all of the legwork and negotiating for you. All you have to do is sign the papers and take the keys. It's that easy. To learn how the Car Chick can save you time, money, and hassle on your next car purchase, give us a call at 888-575-2138. That's 888-575-2138. Or visit us on the web at thecarchick.com.
Ah, the Car Chick is back for more Straight Shift.
Welcome back. We're talking about the top holiday driving dangers. We've talked about visibility because it's getting dark so early. We're spending more time driving at night, which is more dangerous. And we're also tired. So not only are we driving at night, we're trying desperately not to fall asleep. There might be drunks out there coming back from holiday parties. So it's a much more dangerous time of the year to be on the road. And I want to give you this information and some advice so that you can keep yourself and your family safer. Another obvious thing that increases the danger this time of year, depending on where in the country you live, or if you're making a road trip to go over the river and through the woods to grandmother's house, the weather can be a huge factor in your driving safety. Even in the South, we are likely to have some inclement weather. For us, inclement weather means, it's below 40 degrees and precipitating. Therefore, our roads are likely to get icy. We don't tend to get dumped on with snow like you guys do up north or somewhere, out west in the mountains. But we also don't have the equipment from the salt trucks and the road clearing equipment to even our own tires. We don't have snow tires down here. So, people that are driving up north, to Michigan and New York and Pennsylvania and Ohio to visit family for the holidays, be aware that your vehicle might not be properly equipped for the weather conditions that you are going to. So you've got a couple of options. You can either make sure that you have tires that are going to be able to handle the weather conditions you're going into, or you can rent something that has more appropriate tires on it. Just be sure to do that in advance, because the rental car companies very quickly run out of vehicles around the holidays for folks wanting to rent stuff so they don't have to drive their own cars. But just be aware that no matter where you live, watch out for that weather. The ice that we get down here in the South is actually in many ways more dangerous than the snow that we had when I was growing up in the North, in Cleveland and Milwaukee, because a lot of times you can't see the ice. There's a thing called black ice. And down here in the South, people don't necessarily know that term. Any of you that grew up in the North, especially in places like Wisconsin, you know what black ice is. It's where you get that layer of water on the black asphalt and it freezes to ice overnight, but there's not necessarily any snow or slush on top of it to give you any indication that that patch of road might be icy or slippery. You're just driving down the road and you think you're doing fine, and all of a sudden it's like, woo! It's like hitting a banana peel, and you hit it before you know what's going on, and you don't have time to react to it. So be aware that can happen, and it can happen. It doesn't have to be below freezing. The roads can start icing at 37 degrees. Now, Maggie, my little Mini Cooper, being a nicely German over-engineered vehicle, she starts beeping at me and flashing her temperature gauge and telling me, hello, it's 37 degrees outside. Things could be a little bit slippery. Please pay attention. So just be aware that at 37 degrees, the roads can get icy if there has been any sort of moisture and precipitation. It does not have to be a snowstorm or an ice storm for that to happen. And if you're, on back roads, those roads might not get cleared as easily or as quickly, or, heck, at all. So just be aware of what the weather conditions are. Make sure your car's in good shape. Make sure that you've had your battery checked. I know we talked about this last time with winterizing your car, but these are things that a lot of us that live in the South just don't think about on a regular basis, because winter is just sort of this thing that we talk about, and it happens once every 3 years, and, then it melts and we go home. It's fine. But keep some flares with you. Keep a flashlight in the car. Keep a blanket in your car just in case you have a breakdown. Because even if you have a good roadside assistance plan through AAA or through the auto manufacturers, this is their busy time of year too. And it may take them an hour or 2 hours or even 3 hours to get to you. And you want to be safe and warm in your car while you're waiting for the rescue team to arrive. Number 5, and this is really the number one cause of traffic accidents, no matter what time of year, but it's distracted drivers, AKA the idiots. You know who they are. You may have been one of those people at some point in time. We all, are guilty of being distracted while we're driving at some point. Nobody's perfect. We're human. And in this day and age where we are almost surgically attached to our cell phones, and there's so much going on in our lives, we don't take the time to just focus on one task at a time. We try and multitask, and it doesn't work. We try to do it. We think it works. It doesn't. But it especially doesn't work when you're driving. So watch out for the folks that are talking on their cell phones, that are chatting with all their family in the car, talking about the plans for the holidays, or arguing over something about the elf on the shelf, or they're singing along to, their Christmas carols and holiday tunes in the car, and paying more attention to those things than they are to their driving. According to the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, Drivers are, in fact, twice as likely to be distracted during the holiday season, and there is as much as a 23 times more likely to cause a traffic accident. 23 times more likely for traffic accidents. That's just ridiculous. It's scary. And it's not just on New Year's Eve when you got to watch out for the drunks. It's simply because people are even more distracted and even more stressed during the holiday season. Road rage kind of ties into this. You'd like to think that the holidays are a joyous time, but they are a really, really stressful time. A lot of people are trying to get things wrapped up for their jobs, or they're under a lot of pressure because they're trying to make sales by the end of the year. My poor car dealers are pulling their hair out right now, trying to make those sales. We're just running ourselves ragged. And when people are stressed and they're tired, they get really pissy. So road rage dramatically increases during the holidays. And this is a time where we should be being nicer to each other, taking that deep breath and just kind of sitting back and remembering what's important. But instead, we're honking our horns and we're yelling and screaming, and we're pissed because this person took your parking space that you were waiting for at the mall. And we just need to chill out. Don't make that aggressive lane change. Yield the right of way to somebody else, even if you don't think that they really have the right of way. You think that you have the right of way. Honestly, does it matter that much? Give some holiday cheer to another driver on the road and just chill out and put safety and, that holiday spirit ahead of trying to rush around and getting to where you're going. We just need to slow down, because slowing down, not just physically in terms of the speed that you're driving, but slowing down mentally and emotionally, and just not letting ourselves be so dang stressed. It's just the holidays. It really does not have to be that big of a deal. So I want to tell you guys about something that happened literally here in down the street from me in Rock Hill, South Carolina. And this is another danger that crops up even more during the holidays, because not only are we more active, but so are the criminals. They love the holiday season, because there's more stuff to steal and people are distracted, so they might forget to lock their car. But there was a woman at the Walmart. Of course, right? Because, everything crazy always happens at the Walmart. She was sitting in her car in the Walmart parking lot down in Rock Hill, South Carolina, which is just a few miles from me. And this truck or an SUV, some big vehicle, pulled into the space in front of her and turned on their brights and blinded her. And while she was kind of reeling from these huge bright truck lights right in her face, two guys get out of that truck and come around to either side of her car. And they were wearing hoodies that were pulled down low, and they were trying to get into her car. Thankfully, she had locked her doors as soon as she got in the car, which you should always do for this reason. And she was able to kind of overcome her shock and put the car into reverse and get the heck out of there before they could break into her car. She didn't know if they were, trying to carjack her, if they were trying to kidnap and harm her, if they just wanted the stuff that she just bought at Walmart. Who knows? But this is something that the police have noticed, at least in this area, is happening more often. Carjackers are using the blind you with the brights technique to help them carjack your car and break in. So there's a couple things that we need to learn from this situation. And women tend to be more guilty of this than men. We go to the grocery store, we go to Walmart, we're running our errands. Then when we get in our car, we don't leave right away. We sit there and maybe, write something down in our checkbook, or make sure that our credit cards are in the right spot in our purse, or we look at our phone and check our messages before we start to drive off. And that can be really dangerous, because you're very vulnerable when you are sitting in your car in a parking lot. And the police will tell you, if you've ever been to a self-defense course that's done by police, they will tell you that one of the most dangerous places for women in particular is in a store parking lot. And that is where you are most likely to be harmed or abducted or carjacked because we're distracted. You're sitting in your car and you're thinking about other things, and you might not think to lock your doors right away. And that's an easy time for someone with ill intentions to get in your car. So here's what you need to do. Get in your car, lock the doors, drive away. That frees up a parking space for the other person that's been sitting there with their blinker on waiting for you going, come on, are you pulling out? Are you pulling out? Good grief. What are you doing, lady? It's courteous, but it's also for your safety. Just get in the car and drive off. If you do need to check your phone because you got a voicemail that might be from your kids, great. But be sure you lock those doors because you want to be safe. And remember to lock your doors when you're going into the store, because this is the time of year where criminals are wandering through the parking lots looking in your windows going, oh, what did you buy? Hey, look, there's a new cell phone in there. Ooh, somebody got a new computer. They're more likely to break into your car. So if you are running around doing multiple errands, maybe you're doing some last minute holiday shopping and you do have juicy, enticing looking presents sitting in the back of your car. If you have a sedan and you can lock everything in the trunk where nobody can see them, great. But a lot of people are driving SUVs and minivans, or, I've got a little hatchback Mini Cooper. You can see in the back of those, you can see all the tasty presents. So get a blanket. SUVs and stuff can come with one of these things. It's called a tonneau cover, very fancy name for this piece of fabric that covers your junk in the back of your car. Get one of those, just get a blanket, just throw something over the stuff, because if they can't see exactly what it is, that's going to deter them from taking the risk of breaking your window and stealing that stuff, because, they're thinking, ooh, television or computer or something really expensive that they can fence, and they'd be really disappointed to see that it's actually, groceries and kitty litter. So covering it up will deter criminals from choosing your car to break into around the holidays. So I hope this information has been helpful to you. I want to make sure that everyone is safe out there, whether it's from driving, from criminals breaking into their car, whatever, because it can be a dangerous time of year and we want it to be joyous. So between the increased traffic, reduced visibility, exhaustion, alcohol consumption, and just general holiday craziness, don't have your holidays turned into tragedy. Stay safe on the roads, take the precautions, and just use good judgment and treat your fellow other crazy holiday running around people the same way that you would want to be treated, with courtesy and with joy and with love. Happy holidays, everyone. Be safe.
The Straight Shift Podcast is copyright Leanne Shattuck, The Car Chick, 2017. All views expressed by guest and or co-hosts are those of the guest and or co-hosts, and not necessarily those of Leanne Shattuck or The Car Chick.